Pop-Tarts Bowl recently revealed that the winning team receives a trophy with a real working toaster to make Pop-Tarts. Oh boy, count me in, said Juan Soto's offseason belly. Welcome to the Moonstem Cast. This is the frying the breakfast taco tortilla and sausage grease to my standing at the fridge at 3 a.m. squirting Chick-fil-A sauce in my mouth. Brian,
Those both sound
how
delicious.
are you doing? I know they sound delicious. I'm a fat kid at heart.
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm now hungry after hearing that. I'm going to go, I don't know, squirt some in my mouth in a second. Here. But yeah, I'm doing well. We are almost at the end of the year. We are coming on the college football playoffs, and there's sad baseball news for us in Houston.
Is it sad?
No, actually, I don't think it's that sad. It just feels sad because we all love Kyle Tucker. We are going to have to retire the "if nobody got me, Kyle Tucker got me" meme.
Yeah.
Because Kyle Tucker can no longer have me. So it's now if nobody got me, nobody got me.
So it's sad in the instance of, yes, we're losing a player that we really like, but it became very clear second half of the season we were not going to re-sign Tucker. It was a pipe dream. It had become a pipe dream. This was a good. Yeah, it sucks we lose a season of Kyle Tucker, but we weren't going to re-sign him. So
no,
this is a good thing. We ended up trading for a third baseman / first baseman. We got a pretty decent right-handed pitcher out of the bullpen, in my opinion. Yeah. And then we actually traded for a top 100 prospect as well. So those were the three things we got for Kyle Tucker.
So I think Dana Brown's playing 5D chess all of a sudden. After last week where I called him not a future caster, because we had, like you just said, I think we all knew Tucker was gone. I think we have kind of assumed that Bregman is also gone. And with this, so I looked up some stats on this. Paredes, he's a pull hitter, as we know, or has been floating around because the Astros cannot hit at home. It seems, which, apparently we overcorrected on the trash can, so we can no longer hit at home. He's a 28% fly ball hitter, but what's more important, he's a 43.2% pull hitter, which means he's pulling to the Crawford, or I think there's still the Crawford boxes.
Yeah, those still the Crawford boxes.
Okay. Thank you, whoever sponsors that. But yeah, he's gonna hit there. Hopefully, that is the plan. He gets a high percentage of fly balls and a high percentage of pulls. So I'm hoping that works out. For what was it? It was whoever the pitcher we signed was. I have his name in here somewhere. He's okay. He's like a 3.98 ERA last season, a negative WAR. But it's like barely negative. That's kind of what you come in as a bullpen reliever. Sometimes you're just going to come in a shitty situation. So I'm not going to come too much on that. The Cam Smith signing, I am very happy about because let's theoretically say we lose Bregman. We will. We have a third baseman who's looking good. He's, I think, now the top prospect in our system now.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome because, I mean, the thing about winning so much is that you no longer have prospects, especially in baseball. You can't, if you're drafting later rounds, you're not getting those like the Mike Trouts or the Bryce Harpers, the guys who are meant to hit. So I'm gonna be honest, I kind of like the trade. I also saw something like the Cubs overpaid. I don't think they did. I think
if they didn't overpay, if they were getting Tucker for multiple years.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're getting him for 1 year and there's a good chance they don't re-sign him. If they don't re-sign him, then yeah, they overpaid pretty badly. Yeah. Just alone with the prospect.
And also
Cam Smith.
Yeah, and also, I don't know why I don't know what number he was in the Cubs system, but he's at least top. Oh my gosh, my voice is cracked. He was at least top 5 in the system.
He's number 78 overall, so yeah.
I'd have to guess. So I do think probably at the end of the day they're going to look back and think this is like I don't know. Who was the pitcher we signed that I've completely forgotten the name of? Not this. The in the regular season that we hated. Our apology tour.
Kikuchi,
there we go. They might be Kikuchi in it by getting a guy for, 1 year who last season stayed off half the year. So I'm liking the trade. I'm kind of happy about it. I'm kind of happy. I think we're looking at our ballpark and saying, how do we make this team actually hit?
Yeah, and the Astros did the weird thing yesterday where they started tweeting about John Singleton a lot. We love you, Big John. Here's to more bat flips and stuff. So that makes me feel like that's smokescreen. and almost like a PR stunt, not PR stunt, makes it be like, okay, well, Paredes can play third and John could be our first baseman. So do we really need Bregman? And I like I said, I think this is just smokescreen. But I would like to have Paredes at first and then Bregman at third, of course.
Yeah.
But the longer we go without Bregman getting signed somewhere, I like our chances less and less.
See, I kind of think the opposite almost, because I think Boris is the worst agent known to man, at least in terms of if you like a guy on your team. I think he's shopping around Bregman. The price is way too high, and teams aren't biting because other guys are getting signed at a rate higher. I mean, Bregman hasn't been like, I've not seen anything of Bregman outside of the Astros in terms of like, oh, these guys are looking. I think the fact is Boris is overshooting what Bregman is. I think there was a commenter in our TikTok who said this was the bad year for Bregman to have like a, what was it? Like a 0.345 or 385 on base percentage. So I'm thinking Boris is a little bit overshooting. I think what's going to happen is he's going to have to bring that price down, which will help the Astros, or some team is going to be like, you know what, screw it, we gotta get a guy, and they pull the trigger on Bregman. So I'm actually liking our chances more as time goes on because I think the price is decreasing as time goes on.
Well, I hope you're right, but I guess we'll just wait and see. Now, knowing how this normally goes with our podcasting and time with news, as soon as we stop recording, we're going to get a notification. And it's going to say that Bregman has signed with the Royals.
I mean, he can go relive his glory days with the Greinke. Maybe they can win a World Series together at some point.
I don't think Greinke's coming back. I think he's
gone. Yeah,
I think he's a free agent.
Yeah, I think
he's done.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I think he's just tired of doing things. I think I don't know, just wants to go like mess with people on the sidewalk. Before we end our baseball coverage, I have a show and tell moment. So I was walking on my street this week and there's this thrift shop that I've always wanted to walk into. It's like, screw it, I'm going to walk in real quickly. And I walked in, I didn't expect to buy a single thing. So I walked around and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I opened this drawer. And this drawer, the first thing I see is the thing I'm about to show you. I'm like, well, I have to buy this. So I bought a ticket to Enron Field. I don't know if you can see that. I way overpaid. It was $8. For 2 tickets.
Was $26 to go to a baseball game.
And in the section 131 as well. So
131.
Yeah. I know. We're in the ones. I think we paid more.
Crazy.
We paid more than that to go sit in the outfield.
Oh my God. So much more. And then we also, I think that's what we paid for the, I think that's what I roughly paid for the hot dog, 2 beers, and nachos I got.
Yeah, no, it's insane. At the same time, Enron Field, I just still love I'd love if the name came back for like a night. It can't.
So
but it'd be
Enron
really
night.
Enron night. Invite Ken Lay to the field. Have him, I don't know, pretend how many profits he makes. But yeah, the last thing actually, on December 12th, I saw this tweet. Steve Cohen had made $211 million since Juan Soto signed. So they'll be okay over.
Yeah, wow. Stadium. So he made a third back of what he's going to pay Soto. Okay,
and like
fine.
In like a week. So he'll be. I mean, the Mets will always be fine in terms of financials, just because it helps when you have an owner who just makes a shit ton of money. Just quickly moving on to college basketball. I'm stupid, Brian. I am really stupid. The SEC is really good. They are leading. SEC is leading the AP poll. We have Tennessee in first and Auburn in second. There's only one team, which is South Carolina, that has lost more than 2 games in the entirety of the SEC right now. Now, again, we've kind of been, they've been playing cupcake. There have been some cupcake teams. There have been teams like Auburn, teams like Tennessee, kind of teams like Alabama who are playing real teams. Mm-hmm. But, we'll maybe get a little bit better idea of who's actually really good when we get to the conference, which I believe the SEC starts the first. But yeah, no, I'm really stupid. UConn beat Gonzaga, which maybe UConn's back because they're like ranked 24th these days. I think they maybe jumped up in the last AP poll. And last thing, TJ Otzelberger, who's the coach of Iowa State, got an extension in his contract to the year 2032. So congratulations to him for job security forever, it feels like.
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years. Yeah, I almost said no, Brian. It's 8 years, but then I realized we're almost in 2025. So
yeah, it hurts.
good for everyone. Soccer quickly. There's the Christmas stretch coming up, which is always fun. They're like every team plays like 7 games in like 8 days, 10 days. It's kind of crazy. It's a fun time. Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, is what they refer to as Boxing Day in the Queens or the Kings countries. There's always big games happening that day. Yeah, boo! I don't have to care about it.
No. I was talking about just the England.
I mean, just the concept of England. You're like, boo! Yeah. The concept. I don't like it. Man City lost after the 85th minute. They gave up conceded 2 goals to Manchester United. Manchester is red for the first time in a long time. It is crazy. It is sad.
I'm not even a big soccer guy. I know that's fucking nuts.
Well, Man City has now won 1 out of their last 10, and I think they tied twice in that span. So, Pep Guardiola may kill himself, and I'm worried for his. I'm like maybe genuinely worried for his safety. Liverpool tied. That's fine. What's more important is Vermont won the national championship in men's soccer and in the United States. I don't know why I have to specify United States. There's not a Vermont anywhere else. In sudden death overtime. It was an awesome goal. Go check it out if you have the time. It was very fun. I'm going to pretend. I will not pretend like I follow the men's soccer season at all.
Do they not do a shootout? It's until someone scores a goal.
Brian, I'm going to be so honest with you. I have no idea what the rules are. I imagine it probably is overtime than that, because that's how it is in regular soccer. You do regular time, then extra time, then a shootout. But they just called this overtime because I think maybe just American, so maybe it was their first bit of overtime. But it was really cool. Vermont, I think no one had Vermont even close to winning at the beginning of the season. No one expected Vermont to be here. They beat Marshall, so congratulations to Vermont. A school that always gets into the NCAA tournament for basketball, and a team that now is national champion. So congrats to them.
Nice.
Over on hockey, I think Johnny Tavares is the most important or most impressive scorer I've ever seen. Again, as many commenters have pointed out on our hockey TikToks, we don't really know much about hockey. And so this is just, he did the behind the back flick. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and just a distance goal against Buffalo recently. The Maple Leafs scored 3 goals in 2.5 minutes against the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah. It was just really impressive. I enjoy watching this team. Stolarz is hurt, so Wall, apparently, who is the guy who was supposed to be the starting goalie, because I think they had switched. He was supposed to do 60% of the time, and then Stolarz got 60% because Stolarz was just killing it. Stolarz is injured right now. Not serious. Should be back, I think I saw tomorrow. I don't know if that's holding up, but should be back tomorrow. He's leading the NHL in save percentage, and then goals allowed adjusted. I don't know what that means, but he's first in it, so good for him. Nylander and Marner are just offensive behemoths. We have an offensive behemoths on this team. And the Maple Leafs are 19-10-2, which means they have 40 points. And they are leading the Atlantic Division of the Eastern Conference. So cool times for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, not so cool times for the Avalanche. I think we're still tied for third, technically fourth, because we're still behind the Stars, because the Stars have 3 less games played. We're 18-15, so just right above 500. That's going to be my question this week. I'm going to try to have a question every week for hockey TikTok, hockey Twitter, hockey everyone. Are we not living up to expectations? What were the expectations for this year for the Avalanche? Because I feel like 18-15 is not where we want. I mean, obviously it's not where we're going to be at, but I felt like going into the season, I heard like, dude, you nailed it. You got a really good wheel spin and you ended up cheering for a really good team. No, but we're treading water above 500. Nathan McKinnon has 50 points, so that's good. Still have 8 players above the positive side of plus minus. Cale McCarr education, all hail Cale. So from what I read in those comments is that, yes, it is pretty insane that he has that many points as a defenseman. And he's a defenseman that isn't really is an old school defenseman, offensive defenseman is what someone said, where it's like, this isn't really seen in this game where a defenseman is getting this much assist and pushing the puck that far up. So that's cool. All hail Cale, baby. And then, that's about it for the Avalanche. I feel like I really need to dive in heavier and learn some more stuff and catch some more games, because it just feels like I said, like we're treading water almost. But I don't know if this team is taking a step back from the past couple of years, or if it's just not taking the necessary step forward that we were supposed to. So just let me know what the expectations were.
I actually have a question as well. Two things. One, actually, Austin Matthews, I forgot to mention, is back. Dude's killing it. Oh, captain, my captain. Two, what should my expectations be for the Stars? Or not the Stars, for the Maple Leafs? Because I am watching them play really well. They are winning games well. They have players on the team who look really good. Now, as I'm meant to understand, these are the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL, and that they will get to the playoffs and then lose in the first or second round. Should I be thinking I say the Maple Leafs can go all the way to the NHL Cup or the NHL Finals or whatever it is, Stanley Cup. I know that they won the Stanley Cup. I think it's the NHL Finals or NHL something. Maybe Stanley Cup Finals? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
We did it ourselves.
Yeah, we're so good at sports podcasting. But should I be weary and protect my heart, or should I go rah, we can do this? That's my question for the week. Anything else on hockey for you, Brian?
No, that's it.
All right, just a couple things I want to run down on college football before we get to the big college football. Travis Hunter wins the Heisman. That was incredibly expected. Good for him. It seems like, I don't know. Everyone expected. I think Travis. I think it's been Ginty. I've been saying Giante the entire season.
I've been saying Giante.
I'm going to keep saying Giante until someone corrects me. He won the fan vote and also had more votes for Heisman. Like, he had more people voting for him who are Heisman voters than Travis Hunter. But Travis Hunter just got more first place. Yeah. So good for him. We all expected it. I mean, what can you say? He played a lot of snaps. And, it was relatively impressive. So I still justice for Ashton Giante. I wonder if he will declare for the draft. Second, Marshall, the entire Marshall football team is leaving because their coach is leaving. So they're not playing a bowl game, even though they were eligible and they got invited to one. So that's not good. There probably should be a discussion about that in terms of, hey, how do we fix this? Not my problem. So Nick Saban can fix that. And then I went to the Pop-Tarts Bowl rocks. They got a real working toaster in their trophy. So, I mean, that's just, it's now a New Year's Six Bowl in my mind, in terms of just a prestige.
I love it. Last year with the edible mascot and this year with working toaster.
They had three mascots this year, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. They had, last year was just the one. I think it was strawberry or blueberry. They have three different ones this year. So I think the players get to choose who they eat.
Oh man. So my only note before we dive into the first round of playoffs is Army Navy went over for I think it's 18 of the last 20 now, or 17 of the last 19, something like that, are unders. But for America, they went over. So hell yeah, and Navy won too. The Army was the better team all year, and Navy won. But yeah,
signals great for our war with China. Navy wins. Thank you, Navy. Very cool. Can't invade Taiwan now.
But that's all. That's the only college football note I had before we dive into the predictions.
Perfect. Brian, will you allow me a second to monologue?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm a big fan of college basketball, as I've stated multiple times on this podcast. I've been very upfront about that. In college basketball, with March Madness, there's this thing that happens, and that is someone finds one stat that every single winner of the national championship has had forever, or they've been in this category at this time of the year. There was something I saw earlier. It's like, oh, everyone who's ever won a national championship was top 12 at this point, so one of these teams is going to win. It is the defining part of March is that you try to find that one stat that will tell you the key to the victory. They'll get it right every time. Now, I said to myself last night, probably at 11 o'clock when I was preparing for this podcast, I said, I could go on base instinct and look at the college football playoff bracket and say, I can figure this out based on watching a lot of college football this year. I can based on, watching the players, watching what I think is going to happen, watching rest weeks, watching their different defenses, how they play, watching how the different offensive schemes. Or I can then go look at the stats and try to figure out stats that every single winning team has ever had. Now, before you do this, you might go Jorden. That's not a good strategy because every team that has won a national championship is also really good. So they're going to look good in stats. I say, you're so right. And I say, I don't care. Because that's not what this podcast is about. So I found 5 stats. I went from last year's Michigan to whoever, I think 2020 was Georgia. I can't remember who won in 2020. Who was it?
LSU.
LSU. Thank you, Brian. 2021 was Georgia. I went back and looked and said, what are all these teams? What are they all good at? And I looked at very base stats as well. So I found 5 different things that say to me, hey, this team's going to win a national championship. Now, again, these are just based on 4 years of really good teams who won a national championship. So they're going to have really good stats. And that is the least amount of offensive penalties. Turnover differential. You want to lower. So you want it in the negative. You want a negative lower one. Offensive plays, you want fewer of them. Defensive plays, you want fewer of them. You want a great defense. You don't actually particularly need a good offense. You need a great defense. Now, again, you say, Jorden, these are all just things great teams have. And I say, you're so right. But every single team that's won a national championship was based on how the other 4. So I just looked at the stats of the other 3 teams there. They were either 1 or 2, and they had more 1s than 2s. So that is my nonsensical prediction and analysis. And I'll get onto something else later and how I believe in myself. So that is what I did last night for an hour and a half. And now I've come and made a matrix, which I will show afterwards. A matrix of who I think is going to win this thing.
Okay. I think I'm excited for that. All right. Let's just start off with what I think is the easiest of the 4 games. And that's State Penn versus SMU.
Yeah, I think we're going to be aligned on this. I think most of America will be aligned on this. I think Penn State has that one.
Yeah, I agree. This is not SMU is not a top 5 opponent, which means James Franklin shouldn't fuck it up because he sucks if it's a ranked 5 or higher opponent. He's like 1-8 or something like that, or maybe it's 0-8 in his career at State Penn. So, yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think it's going to be closer than what people think, but I think it's not. But I think it's almost a guaranteed Penn State victory. I've got them down for Penn State 27, SMU 24.
Okay, I'm just going to go off the stats I said earlier and what they're looking like. SMU gives 8.2 offensive penalties per game, which is not good. That's actually the highest of all the teams in the college football playoff. They also they have 69.6 offensive plays per game and 70.2 defensive plays per game. Their turnover differential is 0, which means they have equal amount of offensive turnovers and defensive forced turnovers, which is not good because you want less. You want a in the negative. And that's, I think, it's going to be the differential for them is the turnovers. So penalties and turnovers are not a good mix, especially when you're in a game like this with high stress against a team who actually is good.
Okay, fair enough. Let's transition over to Ohio State and Tennessee. Despite the Michigan loss, Ohio State is a good football team. Ryan Day is a good football coach. I think he's an idiot, and I think he's overrated, but he's a good football coach. But don't overlook Tennessee. I do think Ohio State wins, but this sneaky might be the best first-round game, to be honest. This is the one that I could see it all going to shit and it just being an absolute enigma of a game where we're all talking about oh, the college football was so cool, but the Ohio State Tennessee game was the cream of the crop, the game everyone talks about. I do have it low scoring though. I think it's OSU 24, Tennessee 17.
I think it's going to be a low scoring game as well. I think they both have incredible defenses. I agree with you that Ohio State is a good team that we have forgotten about because they lost to Michigan. Now, the question is, of course, which Ohio State team shows up? Is it the team that lost to Michigan, or is it the team that's been playing phenomenally all season? Is it the team that got within 1 score or 1 point of Oregon? That's going to be a big question. I do think Ohio State wins this one, especially because Tennessee has more offensive penalties per game. They were pretty even in turnover and differential. But I do think Ohio State pulls this one out. I think it'll be the best game, like you said. I don't think it'll be the closest game, but I think it'll be the best game.
That's fair. To me, this next game is the biggest blowout, and that's Clemson versus Texas. And I'm going to read you. I talked to an anonymous source, Tessa, And I asked her a couple questions. I said, Brian from Moonstamp Sports, or hi Tessa, Brian from Moonstamp Sports. As an avid Texas fan, what are your thoughts on the upcoming game versus Clemson? Is Quinn ready? Score prediction. If you happen to lose, will Texas still be back next season? I think our defense carries. We need Quinn to not turn over the ball. It's what fucked us in Georgia Part 1. To be honest, I know sparingly little about Clemson this year, other than that Dabo annoys me, so I hope we win by 100. Otherwise, I'll be happy with a 20-10 win that simultaneously feels closer than that. And if we lose this game, we are not back next year.
I mean, good analysis, Tessa. I think Dabo kind of snuck in to this college football playoff by being able to win the ACC. He kind of got there. He wasn't expected to be there. He got there because Syracuse beat Miami. So shout out to that guy, whoever Syracuse coach is, for shouting out Dabo. I do think it depends on which Quinn shows up. I think even if Quinn doesn't show up, I think Arch may show up. I think that you have a good backup quarterback there. Texas defense, while suspect at times, is going to carry against an ACC Clemson team that is not that great, because it's an ACC that just is not as great as I think comparatively to the SEC, which is not a weird statement to have.
I don't think this game's close, but I think Quinn will be on a short leash. I think you give Quinn the first quarter and a half, and if it does not look good, you put Manning in and see what you've got. But I don't see it going that. Clemson doesn't have that great of a defense, so I think it's going to be Texas 31, Clemson 17. Like I said, I don't think it's that close of a game.
Just quickly, I want to talk about. I've heard about Quinn is leaving no matter what after the season, but he may not be going to the NFL draft.
He's got $10 million on the table or something that.
Yeah. So good for him. I just, thought we'd bring that up, that this may be his last hurrah as a Longhorn, whether it be going somewhere else or whether going to the NFL. If he goes to the NFL, he will be drafted in the late second round, honestly.
I'm giving him third.
I mean,
with the way last year, if he would have left last year, I think he would have been a second round top, end of first, beginning of second. But this year, it's just, I think he's end of second, third, maybe even falls to the fourth. It's been bad.
Well, we were talking about at the beginning of the season that he was number one quarterback in the draft. Now this is a very bad quarterback draft class as it is. But yeah, so Quinn, play for your time at Texas now.
And then let's move on to my most important game of the four. Indiana at Notre Dame. Please, for the love of God, Riley Leonard, don't fuck this up. You have been improving all year long. Your pass game isn't putrid anymore. This defense fucking rules. Just don't do anything to lose. You don't have to win the game. You just have to not lose the game. Our run game, including your run game, Riley, and our defense will carry us through this game. Don't fuck it up. Don't get cute. Don't try and be Superman. Unless you've got the ball tucked in your running. Then you can be Superman all you want. This is going to be a low-scoring affair. This is going to be real low. But I have also seen this movie too many times. Notre Dame has a great defense. Offense is a little questionable, but should be able to get the job done. We're ranked in a playoff setting. I've seen this movie too many goddamn times, Jorden, where this just screams upset central. We're only giving 7 points. I've seen this movie too many times, man. This has heartbreak written all over it. I do have it down as Notre Dame 20, Indiana 17. Died, please.
So I don't know if you're ready for me to break your heart. I think this will be the closest game of the four that we're going to see. I think Friday's going to be a very close game. I think you had this closest game too. Mm-hmm. I think we have two really good defenses coming at each other. Statistically, Indiana has a very good defense. Statistically, they are on for the second fewest amount of plays on defense in the 12 teams in the college football playoff. You guys are pretty even in turnover differential, but you guys, Notre Dame, has more offensive penalties per game. Now, that could screw you. That could hurt you. I think the saving grace is the defense. The identity of your team is the defense. With that said, and partly being a contrarian and trying to make this interesting, I'm going to choose Indiana to win this game. I think it will be a very close game. It will not be a high-scoring game, everything you just said. But I'm going to choose Indiana partially because I think they can do it, but more partially because I think it'll be way more fun if we have a discussion next week and see what happens.
Okay, just to make my life a little easier, let's run down the 3 Saturday games real quick, just predictions, just so I can make it a quick clip. Starting off quickly with our Saturday predictions. SMU at State Penn. What you got?
I mean, that's an easy one. Penn State. I think everyone is choosing Penn State, except if you are a pony yourself.
Tend to agree. I think it's State Penn, but I think SMU keeps it close. I think it's 27-24. What about Ohio State and Tennessee?
We have all forgotten that Ohio State is actually a very good team. I think the fact they lost to Michigan may revel in the fact that we all hate them, that everyone hates Ryan Day, and that we are hoping for the worst for them. With that said, I think Ohio State is actually a very good football team, and pulls us out, especially with their defensive capabilities.
I agree. I think it's going to be closer than people think, though. But I've got an Ohio State 24, Tennessee 17. And then finally, Texas and Clemson.
I think it depends on when Quinn comes out. If the bad Quinn years comes out, they try to put Arch in. It seems like Sark doesn't trust Arch yet. If the good Quinn comes out, UT wins. I actually think UT wins both ways, but it really does depend on which Quinn decides to come out.
I agree. I think it's Texas both ways, but I think Quinn's going to show up enough, and it's going to be Texas 31, Clemson 17.
Perfect. Now,
Not
Brian,
the cleanest, but it'll be okay. Cutting that too.
Okay. Brian, would you like to know my national champion based on the data? Based on
yes.
my okay. So let me take you back to a time before this podcast. It's the year of our Lord 2016. I'm a columnist at the University of Houston newspaper. It is the Tuesday, it's like I think the Monday before Election Day, or maybe the Sunday before Election Day, 2016 against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I'm writing my prediction. Everyone and their mother knows Hillary Clinton is going to win this. Everyone and their mother knows that, hey, this is an easy win. So I look in the data just to make sure I'm right. I start looking at the data. You know what the data says? The data says Donald Trump's going to win this election. The data says that there's a sine curve happening, and right at the peak where Donald Trump's popularity is. And so I say to myself, oh, he's actually going to win. And I predict that election within 3 states. Now, why did I bring that up? Why did I bring up Donald Trump? Because based on the data, I went through the 5 keys earlier that I kind of went through and said, hey, the team that wins is usually like first or second of these, usually more first than second. I expected to come into this when I did my matrix, which you'll see in a second, and have, all over the place who's number 1. Brian, there's one team on here that is number 1 in 4 of the 5 categories that I mentioned. Would you like to guess what that team is?
Oh man, is it? Oh, I feel like it's going to be weird. Is it Arizona State?
No, Brian, it's worse than that. I have winning this based on my data, and I'm going to stick with this. Winning the national championship this year is the Ohio State University.
Uh-oh.
They are. If you look at my little matrix I have here, I don't know if you can see this. They are 4 of 5 in the top, and that is crazy to me. I did not expect that. I was writing this, and as I wrote it more, I was like, oh no, I'm going to pick Ryan Day to win this. The funniest outcome, not the outcome I want. So that is my data-driven / college basketball leaning, trying to find that one stat that helps you get everything right. Prediction of the college football national champion, the Ohio State University.
I can't argue with the numbers. Damn it, Jorden. That is the Moonstamp Cast prediction for national championship is Ohio State.
I can have it as mine, not yours if you want. So you don't have to touch that.
Nah, it's fine. I think in the back of my mind I've just been fearful of them winning it all. So I think that's the correct answer, to be honest. Because Texas hasn't looked like Texas. Oregon, listen, Ohio State almost beat Oregon, so it's hard to beat a team twice. Georgia did it over Texas, sure, but it's hard to beat a team twice. So I think it's either Oregon or Ohio State, or maybe if Georgia injuries, everyone magically gets healed, and they look like the good side of Georgia, not the bad side of Georgia. If they can hold off the bad side of Georgia for 3 games, they've got a shot. But one game that slips in, they're done.
Yeah.
So I think Ohio State might win it all. Yeah.
I might hypothetically bet this because I am I feel like I have to be sure about this in some sense where I can't go back at it. With that said, I like to possibly thank or congratulate. Who are they playing? They're playing Tennessee. Yeah,
Tennessee.
congratulate Tennessee and beating them. So I'm covered on all bases. But yeah, that was my prediction. I stayed up till 1:30 a.m. last night doing this. It was not a fun time, but it was a time nonetheless. So that's the Moonstem difference.
Yeah, I'll just last thing for me for college football is I'm taking the under in every single game. So it's Indiana Notre Dame under 51, SMU State Penn under 54, Clemson Texas under 52, Tennessee Ohio State under 46.5.
Perfect. All right, Brian.
All right,
anything else on college football? Or we need to go to NFL.
That's it. That's it.
All right, Brian. It's not. It wasn't pretty. It was a hard fought time. It felt weird, like it wasn't going to happen a couple weeks of the season. But with that said, your AFC South champions are the Houston Texans.
Woo! We did it. We snuck in the playoffs. God, we play in the worst division in football.
It's like the Astros in the AL West. Thank God, everyone here sucks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how much we bitched and complained about this team, and we've secured a home playoff game that I don't think is going to end well, because right now it's projected to be the Ravens. So we get to see the Ravens on Christmas, and then the Ravens 3 weeks later for a home playoff game. That scares the shit out of me. It's bad that the Houston Texans are reminding me of Notre Dame. Every time the defense is out there, I'm just like, fuck yeah, man. I love this defense. This defense flies around. Derek Stingley's low key. I really think he should be up there for Defensive Player of the Year, at least nominated. I don't think he's going to win it because cornerbacks, I don't know if a cornerback's ever won it. But at least not recently. But I love this defense. This defense is so fucking good. It's our offense that scares the shit out of me. We haven't been running the ball well recently. We haven't been able to throw the ball outside of Nico Collins. Nico Collins is our number one receiver, and he had 2 touchdowns last game. Great. With 12 yards.
Sick.
That's not going to get it done. I don't know how we won the Miami game. Our defense won us the Miami game, and a fake punt won us the Miami game. Joe Mixon got hip drop tackled, which scares the shit out of me because he was out for 3 games after that. And since we've secured playoffs, we might just fold. We need to just be like, bench him, keep him healthy. We want him back for playoffs. Man, this offense leaves so much to be desired. But like I said, home playoff game, we did it. It's hard to get excited, but I'm sure when the time gets a little bit closer, I'll be up on my feet and ready to roll.
Hey, not to make your life harder, cut the thing about the seeds. I'm really stupid. I don't know why I thought that, but we are not in a 3-way tie. So this was 38-43. If you want to do that,
okay.
The other one, I don't know what time it was. You can also search in the afterwards and see what time things are in the edit. So, I think I realized watching the team this week, and I think I'd seen this on Twitter or Reddit or something. We had gone to the season thinking this team's identity was the offense. We had CJ Stroud with Nico Collins, with Stephon Diggs, with Tank Dell, with just all these offensive weapons. Joe Mixon kind of had in that first couple of weeks, we're like, the offense is the identity of this team. Now that we are in week 15, going to week 15, I'd like to, or 16, we're going to week 16. Yeah. I like to say that this team's identity is the defense. The defense of the Texans is the thing that is carrying this team right now. Like you said, Nico Collins had 12 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, he had 12 yards. CJ Stroud, even though he looks better this week, he did still not look like the self we saw last year. With that said, though, the defense is just killing it. Derek Stingley Jr., I mean, what is there to say that cannot be said? That has not already been said. The man is killing it. He had 2 interceptions this past week. He's always where he needs to be. He's in the right positions. He is looking great. Daniel Hunter has 12 sacks, which is second in the league, which I think we had at some point in the season been like, he's not doing enough. No, that's all he's doing is good stuff. I am looking at this team, and I'm saying the defense is the thing that's going to carry it if it carries at all. With that said, thank you, Tua, for being a bad decision maker and also not stepping up in big games. It's really cool. I love Tua Non. I'm a Tua fan. I still love the Dolphins. Tua's just never going to be the big game quarterback.
Yeah, no. Did you see the stat that like Mike McDaniels is like 2-18 or something like that against teams above 500 or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible.
He is a bad team merchant, and I will say that sadly. Also, I talked about CJ Stroud a little bit. I will say CJ is a thing that he doesn't give up. In that third quarter where he made that pass to Tank Dell, where he was being tackled by somebody.
Oh, so good.
So good. That's the thing. That's the thing with CJ is that he has those moments of brilliance where you go, he can be great and he will be great. He just needs Bobby Slowick on. And also other things to fall into place. He needs his confidence a little bit more back. So I am weary on the Texans. I'm not what we call a believer. I do not think you can go into playoffs, especially if we're playing the Ravens the first round. I mean, there's just no way you get past them playing the way we're playing right now. With that said, if things just magically come together this week or magically come together in the next couple of weeks, there's a chance. Not a large chance, but a chance nonetheless.
Yeah, that's all I have on the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I really had as well. It wasn't a spectacularly exciting game. It was a game that I think was maybe a get right game for a second, where I felt like the team found its identity, which is the defense.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that offense starts clicking because it's now or never. It really is. We've got 2 really hard games coming up at Kansas City, and then 4 days later, we're at home against the Ravens. So it's going to suck. Speaking of the Ravens, them and the Steelers are kind of landlocked. They're hot potatoing the first in the AFC North back and forth. Now the Steelers might be without TJ Watt for this game coming up, and they are also out without George Pickens. So that takes a lot away. This team is completely different without those 2 players. It really is. It's a bit nuts. And if Najee Harris decides to revert to how he was a couple seasons ago with his fumbling the ball and not getting very much offensive production, Steelers might turn back into a pumpkin in these next couple of weeks.
We might get Mike Tomlin 500 soon enough if that team stays the way it is. I'm a Ravens believer. Love Lamar. He's not going to win MVP. Josh Allen's going to win MVP. You want to see my bold prediction right now, just based on that, as the Ravens win the AFC North. That is my prediction. I'm going to stick with it. I have nothing to guide that.
I hope they do. I'd much rather see the Steelers than the Ravens.
100%. 100%. I don't want to touch the Ravens unless it's Christmas Day, and that's when legally we have to touch the Ravens. Outside of that, I don't want to touch the Ravens at all. Yeah.
You brought up the Josh Allen though. He is my MVP favorite, and it's not. He's breaking away with it. Lamar Jackson has been incredible as well, but Josh Allen is breaking away with it, and the Bills are the best team in football right now.
But yeah, I think last week I had chosen the Bills to win, Bills-Lions. And I think you said, you know what, Lions may be the best team in football, the Bills are the hottest. And we've seen that hot trumps best. And I think we talked about it before on this podcast. It's not about being the best. It's about being hot at the right time. Bills are hot right now. Josh Allen is hot right now. That team is just clicking in every single way possible. After maybe we came into the season a little weary because they had lost to Stephon Diggs and just weren't, in our theory, the same team anymore. They're even better. If there's a year where the Bills finally get past the evil ones in Kansas City, this might be the year for it.
Yeah. On the other side of the ball there, Lions will be fine. They have a shit ton of defensive injuries, and I hope the problem is they aren't in a way that they can kind of pull the Texans and we can start taking it easy with some of our players because we have the AFC North locked up. They're in a deadlock race with the Vikings now, and the Packers aren't dead either. Yeah. So, but their defensive injuries are costing them, man. It's bad.
I will say theoretically, they could have won the game if the onside kick hadn't happened.
Yeah.
I will say
that was so bad. That's too aggressive.
I disagree there. I think that if you love Dan Campbell, you have to take Dan Campbell at the Dan Campbelliest best and the Dan Campbelliest worst. And Dan Campbell's the guy who's going to run an onside kick when no one expects it, except now you have to expect it.
Yeah, you have to announce it now. And it has a 7% chance to work. Even before you'll have to announce the thing. It was 7%.
You can't let Pat McAfee it anymore. So I think I liked the idea. I like that Dan Campbell thought of it. Maybe Dan Campbell forgot the rule for a second. I don't know. If this were last year, I think would have gone much better. It's not last year. It's a new era. I will say it's not a good move, but it's the Dan Campbell move. And for that, I will say I'm not going to come after it like some people have. Because again, you have to take it as Dan Campbell best and Dan Campbell worst. And sometimes Dan Campbell best is when you throw a schemed play to skipper the lineman for a touchdown. And then Dan Campbell worst is when you do an onside kick and have to announce it when you give the other team the football in a great position, which is with Josh Allen. So that is my take on that situation.
I agree for the most part. You brought up the evil ones. Patrick Mahomes is currently hurt.
Yeah.
Andy, are you drinking the Kool-Aid on this one? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on this one.
Andrew Reid is currently sacrificing mini virgins below Arrowhead Stadium in hopes that the souls of those virgins will go into the ankle of Patrick Mahomes and fix it.
You know what the worst part about this injury is? Besides the injury?
Carson Wentz?
How Chiefs fans have an excuse. If they get bounced in playoff, they can use the excuse, well, he's playing on a hobbled ankle. You're lucky that we got injured, or we would have three-peated and stuff. That's my hell. I wanted them at their best so that when the Bills put them away, the Ravens put them away, we would be able to be like, ha-ha, Lions put them away if they made the Super Bowl, like, ha-ha, no three-peat for you. Holy fuck, that was close. But now they've got a built-in excuse with Patrick Mahomes' injury. Not to be a spoiler, I still think we lose on Saturday.
The Patrick Mahomes injury is like in the Cold War where America, or I think it was Russia, thought we were launching nukes at each other, like millions of nukes at each other by a false alarm in the system. And then we didn't. No one did, and everything was calm. I feel like the injury there is the closest we'll ever get to having to deal with the three-peat. I think the three-peat is dead. That is my take right now. Three-peat is dead, which, like you said, angers me a little bit that they will have an excuse. I don't care. I'll just start my own narrative. Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing well this season. Carson Wentz has won a Super Bowl before. Okay, you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback on your team as the backup. That's my take. I do actually think we may win. I'm making a game time decision when we do our picks on who I'm choosing.
Okay. The what could have been Bengals. Joe Burrow has had an MVP caliber offensive year. Well, yeah, offensive as a quarterback. He's had an MVP level year statistically. You have a top 15 defense, and they are in the running for a Super Bowl. Absolutely. Whether it be they could have been in the running in the AFC North to win the division. My God, the Bengals organization, every single one of them better be looking around being like, we cannot waste another a year of Joe Burrow doing this because he is going to be furious in front. He was cussing at his head coach on the sidelines like, what the fuck are we doing? This is so frustrating. We should have fucked them up. And like, he looks dejected and he's still going out there and bawling out. His defense is such ass. Every single defensive person should be apologizing to Joe Burrow. It is ridiculous. The Bengals suck because of their defense.
They won that game, but it was way closer than it should have been. Even with that said, though, I'd like to maybe rip Will Levis. This may be the last time we see him in the NFL starting position, maybe an NFL jersey. Thank you for your service to the memes. Thank you for your Mayo service. And thank you for being a Sigma Alpha Chad for your girlfriend ditching you and becoming a starting quarterback. Goodbye. We speak your name.
Speaking of starting quarterbacks that are having a rough time, Caleb Williams is going to be fine long term, but man, oh man, they have so many names on that wide receiver group, but so many. They've outside of even Keenan Allen's been a disappointment. Like, dude looks so lost. Like, he'll hold on to the ball for 10 seconds during a play, scrambling around, doing everything he can, giving his receivers time. When it's scramble drill time, that's when wide receivers like win those battles and they get those crazy plays because the wide receiver, it doesn't feel like they're doing it at all. I feel like it was 7 or 8 times we watched Caleb Williams last night run around the whole fucking pocket from sideline to sideline, just trying to find anything, giving all his guys an opportunity, dodging tackles, doing fake like little hop skips to avoid an ankle tackle that wasn't even there because he's seeing ghosts, and nothing, man. It was so bad. I don't blame him at all, but Chicago, you have to figure it out. You're going to break this you're going to break him down. You're going to break this man's spirit, and then you're going to look back and be like, we wasted the number 1 overall pick. No, you didn't. You broke this man. But this goes back to the whole thing where I've heard Chicago fans, one of my best friends as a Chicago fan said, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is the organization. If we would have drafted Patrick Mahomes instead of Mr. Trubisky would have gone to KC and been a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and we would have ruined Patrick Mahomes. It's just what we do.
I saw a tweet today that was something along the lines of, guys, the Bears are so close. All they need is a new president, new ownership, new head coach, new offensive line coach, new offensive line, new wide receivers, new wide receivers coach. It just went through everything. It was like, yes, they are very close. If you just, ship a Theseus it. And we kept Caleb Williams there. Caleb Williams, remember when he texted his punter, you're not going to see the field that much.
Rough.
This just goes to everyone in the world. Never do that, because it will always come back to bite you. Never do that, because you're playing with fate, and fate loves to do that. So don't call yourself the unsinkable ship.
I just have a couple more quick NFL notes, and that's the Panthers should never be favored in a football game ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Godly. Yeah. How do you lose to the Cowboys? It was just sad. They reverted to what they were. They went on this nice little hot streak for about 4 games. They didn't win a lot of games, but they took KC to the brink. That sucks. That's got to be demoralizing.
I mean, with that said, Bryce Young still looks better than he did. So I think Bryce Young has another year as a starting quarterback, possibly because the class this year just not that great. I don't know. I don't think Dan would let Shedeur go to the Panthers anyway. But with that said, I think Bryce Young has another year, which I'm happy about because he looks so much better, and I'm now rooting for him. So I want the best for him.
And then the last real note I have is Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
Yeah,
they are incredible. And I'm only saying that. It's hard to lose your crown to injury, but with the Lions' injuries, it's going to be hard for them to finish the season strong, while the Eagles are ramping up and hitting it hard. Besides that, playoff pushes here. Some teams have locked into the playoffs. Seeding's not done, of course, but they've at least secured a playoff spot, namely the Texans. But here's the big push. This is going to get fun for the next 3 weeks.
Last couple of notes for me. One, it's really funny the Jets are playing well now when they're not in the playoffs. They have nothing to play for, and they're just there for fun. They're just trying to get a better draft or worse draft position at this point. Aaron Rodgers looked like the old Aaron Rodgers this week. Turns out he's, big into documentaries, which are about him. So maybe he studied himself this past week and was like, oh, yeah, I can play football. Jaden Daniels got a W. Looking at Jaden Daniels' watch. Baker Mayfield, blowout. Whoever in Cleveland said, oh, he has a bad shoulder, we should get rid of him. Idiot. And Anthony Richardson Fetty whopped. He went 17 for 38. So good for him.
That's a great last note.
Yeah.
I'm ready for picks. Are you?
Let's do it.
All right. Starting off with Thursday Night Football. Broncos, Chargers.
Broncos.
Chargers. Wow. Okay. That's a good way to start off the week. Mm-hmm. Texans at Chiefs.
I'm gonna say Chiefs.
I'm saying Chiefs too. Steelers at Ravens.
Ravens.
Giants at Falcons.
Falcons.
Lions at Bears.
Lions.
Cardinals at Panthers.
Cardinals.
Panthers. I don't like it though. Rams at Jets.
Jets, because they have nothing to play for and they're having fun.
Rams. I'll go Rams. Eagles at Commanders.
Eagles.
Browns at Bengals.
Browns.
But this is the game that Jameis Winston's going to have some fun. The Bengals defense is that ass.
He's going to throw for 4 70-yard touchdowns.
Titans, Colts.
Colts.
Vikings, Seahawks.
I'm saying Seahawks here.
Wow. Okay. I like it. I'm going Vikings.
I went for some crazy ones this week. Huh?
That's fair. I like it. Patriots, Bills. Well, you talked about going for some crit now.
Well, okay.
Bills.
I'm not. I'm not.
No, I was making a joke that I was going to take the Patriots. Jaguars, Raiders.
Jaguars.
Really? I got Raiders.
I got Jaguars.
I think. What's his name? I think Mac Jones is just that ass. He's that bad.
Bill Belichick, that's why he went back to college. He realized he didn't know what he was doing anymore.
49ers, Dolphins.
Dolphins, actually.
49ers. Now, they are above 500, so in theory, the Dolphins are going to kick the shit out of them. Bucks, Cowboys.
Bucks,
Buccaneers. And then Saints, Packers.
Packers.
Okay, same Packers. All right, going on my side of things. I'm not doing that well right now, but we march on, right? Finish strong. Broncos +3, Chiefs +2, Ravens -6.5, Cardinals, Panthers over 46.5, Browns, Bengals over 48, Lions -6.5, Rams -3.5, Giants, Falcons under 41, Eagles -3, Jaguars, Raiders under 39, Vikings -3, Bills -14, 49ers +1.5, Buccaneers -4, and Packers -13.5. That is a large spread.
There we go. All right. I have a couple less notes, but they're on the NBA, which
Let's
we will
hit it.
start watching more whenever football's done.
Probably college football is done.
College football. Yeah, I think once college football's done, we'll have more time to watch other things. Everyone's been talking about NBA ratings. How do we make the NBA better? How do we make more people watch the NBA? Some people are asking, for players to care. Who cares? I think Joel. Boo. That's not their point. I went James Harden to strip club the night before. That's his power. People are asking for them to maybe call less fouls. No, the refs have to have a job for a reason. People are asking for, I don't know, different game. Adam Silver would do something. No, he has to look like a vampire. He has to look like Nosferatu. He's starring in that movie. I have two suggestions. One, during the regular season, let players fight.
I love it.
So, like hockey, and let them fight. And I was going to do like, haha, this is a funny thing. I actually have a practical way to do this. You get 3 fouls. You get 3 fouls against you if you fight someone, but you can stay in the game. Now, if you have 2 fouls already, if you have 4 fouls already, you're out. But if you have 0 fouls, you only have 3 fouls, so you're good. It can be the first quarter, it can be the fourth quarter. It makes it fun. It makes it interesting. You're going to see some good fights. Draymond Green's going to fight somebody. Maybe Ant will go fight someone. You bring back that old school fighting mentality, kind of the rough and rowdy, without having to actually change the play style of the game. 2, the in-season tournament. You have Adam Nosferatu. You have a great opportunity there to do something amazing. Now, I had different, I've seen different things thrown out. I've seen like different rules, different times, blah, blah. I want to take you back to something called the Arena Football League, and I want to introduce arena basketball. No more out of bounds. Out of bounds does not exist anymore, except if you somehow get over whatever height we think the ring should be. Arena basketball, all right? Alley-oops to yourself, not on the backboard. Do whatever you want. I don't know. There's a new meta involved, and it's fun. Players get to have a little bit of fun. It's a little bit different. It's a little banana ball-y. That is my – how do you get the in-season tournament ratings up? Make it a bowl. Last thing
I like it.
Yeah. That's how you fix the NBA for me right now. Maybe you can do things like kill Daryl Morey, execute him in public because I hate Daryl Morey. I don't think Adam Silver would do that. He's not the Rob Manfreds of the world or Roger Goodell's, not Rob Manfreds. Also, us. The owner of the Houston Rockets, Toma Fertitta, is being floated as the ambassador to Italy. I don't know what that does to the team, honestly. Just means we're not going to get an NHL team if that happens, which we never were anyway. It's not his job. He's not going to do it. It's going to be someone else. So that's my NBA update. At some point, we're actually probably going to do more NBA content. But until then, this is a football-focused podcast.
Mm-hmm.
FFP.
Well, that's all I got. Jorden, where can the people find you?
Find me at Jordan's Thoughts on Twitter and Moonstamp Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And that's all. Yeah, on those 5. Brian, where can people find you? There.
You can find me across all social medias at Auric Polaris, AURICPOLARIS. This week I've been streaming Bloodborne, and then Thursday, when this podcast is out, that afternoon, 1 p.m. Central Time, I will be continuing with Bloodborne with Neil. And then I'm probably going to try and stream something on... Nope, Friday is the Notre Dame game. I lied. Saturday I'm busy all the time. So that'll be the second stream of the week, and the only other stream that happens this week is Thursday at 1 p.m. I love them. We need to find a name.
Yeah, I want to call him Mooney or the Mooner, but we'll
The
figure it out.
Mooner.
The Mooner, yeah. He has no ass whatsoever, so I don't
Oh,
think we can. But
the assless moon.
the assless moon, I know. What's the government hiding for us? Does the moon have an ass? Is the moon double cheeked up? That's the real question, not the drones. What's the ass of the moon look like?
Thank you guys so much for listening. Leave a comment of who you think is going to win the national championship. We love you, and we'll see you next time.
Stay beautiful, everyone.